Okay, you're trying to factor this trinomial by grouping. This is the same thing as the PSF method, product sum factoring method. Excuse me. And your question is, how do you get the factors of AC, where AC is the 9 times the 30, which equals 270. Your question is, how do you find factors of 270 that sum to give the B? And that is the correct first step for the factoring by grouping method. So let's write that down. This is our B. And we want to find numbers that multiply to give 270 and at the same time add to give minus 59. Well, this is the approach that I use for this first step if the numbers are large like that. First, I prime factorize 270. Prime factorize means break it down into its lowest prime factors, where factors are numbers that are only divisible by 1 in themselves. And you can start off any way you like. I choose any two factors of 270. I choose 27 and 10. And then I keep breaking the factors down until I have all prime factors. So now you can see that the prime factorization of 270 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 2. Okay? Now I want to find pairs of factors. But now that I see all of the base factors, the foundational factors, the prime factors, I can easily find all of the possible pairs of factors. So you want to find all combinations. So you could start with, say, the first factor. So the first factor is 3 times the product of all the rest of them, which in this case is 3 times 3 is 9 times 10, right? So that's 90 is 270. And then I'll go for the next two. I've got 9 times 15 times 2 is 30. Is 270. And then the next is 27 times 10 is 270. And then I have 27 times 5, which is 135, times 2, that's 270. And finally, don't forget, there's also this combination, 5 times all of the others, 5 times 54, which is also 270. And wait a minute, did I cover 2? So I have 2 times all of these. So let's see, 2 times 15 times 9, which is 2. So 2 times 135, I have that already. Okay, so I have all the possible combinations. So now, when you first look at it, of course, none of them add to give us minus 59. We have to think about the signs. We have to consider the signs. AC was a positive 270. B is negative. So we're looking for factors which multiply to give us a positive product and sum to give us a negative product. And the only way that's possible is if both of the signs are negative, because negative times a negative gives us a positive, and negative plus a negative gives us a negative. Okay, so that's how we know what the signs of the factors are. And then when you look at these, you see that this pair right here sums to give us the negative 59, because negative 5 minus 54 more is equal to negative 59. So that's our magic pair. And on the next slide, we're going to use that to rewrite our trinomial with 4 terms so that we can then factor it by grouping. So our original trinomial was 9x squared minus 59x plus 30. Now our numbers were minus 54, which is the coefficient of our x, and minus 5. Okay, so we've rewritten the middle term using the coefficients that we found. These were the numbers, this number and this number, multiplied to give us AC and summed to give us the B. Now that we have 4 terms, we can factor by grouping. Now this problem is tricky here as well. We're going to group the pairs of terms and then take out a common factor. Let's watch what happens. If you're having trouble seeing the common factor, you can factorize. In fact, you could just leave this as a 9, because you can see that 9 times 6 is 54, so you see the common factor, right? So the 9x is a common factor here, and the 9x is a common factor here. And then over here we have minus 1 times 5 times x, and we have a 6 times 5. Okay, so you see here that the common factor is 5. Okay, so here I'm going to take out the common factor of 9x, and what's left is the x right here and the 6 here, right, and this minus here. And over here, I'm going to put a plus sign in between, okay, because I surrounded that whole minus 5x plus 30 with parentheses. So put a plus here. That you have to be very careful right here. So the common factor that I take out here is 5. And you see we have minus 1 times x left, which is minus x, and this was plus here, right? Plus 6. But now we need to take out a common factor, and usually these are the common factors, and as you see they're not exactly the same, so we have to force them to be the same. And the way we could do that is, for this one right here, we can take out this negative 1. So this is a negative 1 times x, and this is like a negative 1 times negative 6, right? We could make it that way. because it's true. So over here, what we could do is we'll keep this, and we'll take out a common factor of -1 here. Let me just highlight. Here's a -1 and here's a -1. We're going to take that common factor out. When we take it out, we have -5. This now is a plus x, because it changes to the opposite sign. So we're now multiplying by a negative. And over here we're left with -6, because we took out that -1, and we're left with this -6 right here. Okay, so now we have the common factor x minus 6, which we take out, and we're left with the 9x in the first term and the -5 in the second term. And that's the factorization of the original trinomial 9x squared minus 59x plus 30. You can check it by foiling, and you should get that trinomial back.